Hey guys, thanks for watching. I've been reading a whole lot of stuff recently about motor learning and really how people acquire a new skill and how people get better at things. Not only early learners, like when you learn to walk or then ride a bike or ride a skateboard or things like that, but then also how adult learners do it. And then strategies that golfers can use to take something like an ingrained pattern and flip it and change it. Because that's really the core audience of Be Better Golf, like I always say, is people who are been playing golf for a while and they just feel like they've plateaued. So I've been listening to some podcasts and also to a lot of college courses and reading a lot of books about motor learning. And this one technique came up that was very interesting. It's something called differential learning. And in differential learning, they talk about the brain, the way that the brain works is it tells differences. So it's kind of like a T-Rex, in that a T-Rex doesn't, in the movie anyway, a T-Rex would not be able to see anything until it moved, right? So everybody in the movie would be frozen still, not breathing, not moving at all, and the face of the T-Rex was right there, but it couldn't see them because they're not moving. So I don't know if that's actually real or just a movie, but it kind of explains a little bit also to how our brain learns new things. So our brain, if you see a million, let's say yellow dots on the wall, and then one blue dot, you'll be able to pick out that one blue dot. Your brain works in seeing differences. So the differences are really the things that stick out, and your brain goes right to that. So when people are trying to get better at golf, a lot of times what they do is they treat getting better at golf kind of like getting better at lifting weights. So if you want to get better, like say build up your triceps, or you want to eventually be able to let's say you want to build up your biceps and you want to eventually be able to curl 100 pounds, right? So what you would do is you would do a lower weight again and again and again until that muscle's stronger and stronger, and then eventually you can lift 100 pounds. So with that kind of thinking, people take, and it's totally well-intentioned thinking, they take the golf swing and they think, well, let me get on this perfect motion, slow motion, this perfect plane, perfect whatever else, and let me just repeat it again and again and again. And eventually it's going to become my normal. Well, if that was the best way to do it, or if that way really worked, then there would be way more good golfers out there, because people are doing that. And even people who say like, oh man, I'm just so inconsistent, every swing's totally different. If you look at their swing from swing to swing, even like an avid golfer who's like an 18 handicapper will be like not that much more inconsistent in their swing motion than like Rory McIlroy or whatever, because they're both people. So they really come from the same kind of cloth, even though they're great athletes and other things like that. The real difference, the real thing is it's not repetition. Repetition will only get you so far. It's good, that block repetition is good for very, very beginners. But once you've been playing for a while, it really doesn't do much. Once you've done it once, then there's no that much point in doing it again and again and again and again. Your brain has that pattern. It knows it. It goes again. It's not like you're not doing anything. It's not like you're doing 100 push-ups. Your brain is like, you do the first push-up, and then it can do push-up number 2 to push-up number 100 extremely easy for your brain. That's like nothing. That's like doing one push-up. So when you're talking about getting better at golf, you have to talk about differences. So one of the techniques in this stuff, and I'll tell you more about this later, but one of the techniques in this stuff that I really liked was this thing called sandwich training. So we're going to talk about a drill that is the sandwich drill. First I want to tell you about this study that I had seen. It was through the Perception and Action podcast. So they talked about this study that they did with 3 different sports. They did it with the shot put, with golf, and with something else. But let's stick to the golf one. So with the golf one, they took a group of 30 golfers, I think, or they had a whole, they got all these golfers, and then they had 30 golfers who had this very common swing fault for beginner golfers. So the swing fault was these golfers were in their backswing. They're going too far to the left and staying on the left and then hitting it, right? And they were just going like that. So basically like a general reverse pivot, right? So they were just tilting over this way and staying there, right? So they tried to make these golfers get better ball speed, better dispersion, and better club head speed through 3 different techniques. So the first technique obviously is just the control group. So they had like 6 sessions throughout 6 weeks. And the control group, they just let them practice on a simulator like this one at Precision Golf Centers. So the control group went, and then the second group, they gave them what would be traditional instruction. So this is like corrections, okay? So basically they said, hey, the instruction that they gave that group was get more weight on your right side in the backswing, okay? Do this, okay? Which would be the opposite of bad, the opposite of what they were doing when they were going like that, right? And then the third group, they said, hey, we want you, and these were people that were going like this already. I want you, this is the instruction they gave the third group of 10 people. They said, I want you to get all your weight on the left side, so much so that you're almost falling over. So the first group, the control group, would come in and they would just practice. They would hit, like they had a set number of shots that they could do, or a set amount of time that they could practice. So they come in and they just hit shots, right? And then the second group would come in and the researcher would say, okay, now practice going to your right side and swinging. Okay, that was the second group. And then the third group would come in and the researcher would say, okay, get your weight so far to the left side that you're almost falling over, and then swing. So it was very interesting to learn that of those 3 groups, the control group, they got almost no better, just a little bit. The group that got traditional instruction, as far as they were going like this, so they got the instruction to do that, get all the weight here, they didn't get much better at all, almost not at all. But the group that, basically, this is called feeding the error. The group that was told to overdo their error, they got a lot better. Their ball speed went up, their dispersion got closer, and their club head speed went up. All 3 things that, makes you a better golfer. So what was interesting is that, because that's kind of the way that the brain fixes errors, right? Because if you're normally doing this, right, too much, and then you try to do this, your brain is going to want to get back there again. So if you overdo this, your brain has to correct for that. Your brain has to do the correction. If the coach gives you the correction, it doesn't work. So that's really all golf lessons. 99% of golf lessons are errors, something you're doing wrong, and then the coach giving you a correction. But that might not get people better at all. So this is sandwich training. Sandwich training is so what I've been working on, as you guys know, is I want the club more in front of me at impact, so not here. I want it more in front of me, and I also want to keep my level a little bit better. So what you're going to do is, this is the drill. Go up and practice the right thing, whatever you're working on. So if you're over the top, if you're whatever, but we're going to go with what I'm working on. So what you're going to do is, you're going to practice what you want to feel. For me, that's in transition is squatting a little lower and getting my swing out in front of myself. So do one swing of what you want to feel. Then do one swing of the opposite, like the total opposite of what you want to feel. So for me, that would be being here and standing up and flipping at it, okay? So That'd be the opposite of what I want to feel. Then practice what you do want to feel again, which would be that. That actually was a really good one. Then come back and reset and hit the ball where you're really trying to feel what you actually want to feel. And because you know the difference between good and bad, because of that training, you'll hit it really good. Like that one was really good. So it's a 5-iron, carried 199 yards, 214 total. So I want you to, like, when you're on the range and you're hitting balls, you would think, if you have this kind of like workout mentality, you would think like, hey, let me just practice exactly what I want to do and then try to repeat that in my swing. Let me really practice that. Well, how about going the other way and say like, okay, let's take another example. If somebody's across the line, right? So you would think, oh, let me practice being really laid off, okay? Let me practice being really laid off. But what you might want to practice is you might want to be like, okay, this is what I want to do. Not the opposite of bad, but just what you want to do. And this is what I've been doing, and I don't like being across the line. So, but I do like that. Reset and hit it. One of the things about this is that I think from what I'm seeing in the research I've been reading and stuff like that, it only works in things that are actually really crucial to your swing, okay? So if you have like an inside takeaway, practicing an extremely inside takeaway and then hitting the ball, or putting that extremely inside takeaway and inside that sandwich training, it might do okay and it might help your takeaway, but it's not going to be that super effective. It's going to be more effective for things that are problems that directly relate to your impact. So for example, like what I'm working on, I know that impacting the ball like this is not what I want to do. And impacting the ball like that is what I want to do. So that would directly relate to impact. So something else is like there could be like a hitch in your swing that's making it slower. So the sandwich training, I'm going to do it one more time. So I'm going to go here and then lower and forward. That's what I want to feel. I do not want to feel here and higher and backwards with a kind of a flip. I want to feel that, okay? It's really what I want to feel. So I'm going to come back, and now my brain knows those two differences, and I'm going to choose. And my brain has those two totally opposite feelings, so I'm going to choose the good one. Yeah, I like that. That's even further. That's like ridiculously long. So now I'm just going to blend that in to actually picking a better spot on the net to fix it. So I'm going to go here, and I want that down and forward. I do not want to go up and back. That's a little bit outside. I don't want to go that way. I want to go that way. I'm going to pick a better start line. Yeah, that's better. Go, baby. Let's see if I can get it at least over 200 yards. Yeah. So that's really good. I mean, that is the way you need to be thinking on the range. I hope this made sense to you guys. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.